Was I working out or was I watching the final laps between the top 4 F1 constructors? Well, according to my watch, my heart rate suggests it could have been either. It was tense. Race 1 in Jeddah for the F1 Academy series had some really good moments, but arguably one of my favourite parts was Ella Lloyd making history as the first McLaren driver to win in Jeddah, especially because when she crossed that finish line, it was so Oscar Piastri coded. Because tell me why she was winning her first F1 Academy race and her response was, yep, thank you. If that isn't Piastri coded, I don't know what is. But anyway, what were the key takeaways from this reverse grid race? Firstly, who am I impressed with? Naturally, there is Lloyd, who was absolutely on it from the very start. Absolutely fantastic defense from her, which was especially needed because there was only 1/10 between her and Verg when they crossed the finish line. Speaking of Verg, she was fantastic at maximising opportunities such as tows and battles between other drivers. Also, I was delighted to see that Gateman had been able to make up her place and to score a point because she was experiencing some significant pain from the crash that she had 2 weeks ago at Jeddah. Furthermore, I thought both Pan and Larson did a great job of maintaining a really interesting battle, especially as Larson is the second youngest driver on the grid, so her performance definitely shouldn't be overlooked. Secondly, who didn't have such a great time? Arguably Locke, because she crashed during qualifying, which meant that she had to start at the back of the grid. While she was able to make up the most amount of places, she was tagged on the back during lap 4 by Crone, although this was arguably worse for Chong because she ended up having to DNF because she picked up some damage from this collision. So unsurprisingly, Crone picked up a 10-second penalty, although she was in the pits during lap 9, which is when it flashed up on our screens that she was going to get this penalty, so I don't really know what went on there. Someone else who picked up a 10-second penalty was the wildcard Al Yusuf, but this was a stop-go penalty. And then she later picked up a 5-second penalty, which is a real shame for her because as we've seen from drivers such as Lloyd and Pomałski, if you perform really well as a wildcard, this could lead to you having a full-time seat. Then there is Felbermeyer, who started off in pole and finished in P9, and that was simply because she was overtaken. Lastly, what does this mean for the championship? Well, Pan and Verg have extended their leads and they are now the only 2 drivers in the 30s. Meanwhile, for P3, Chambers didn't do that well, so Pomałski now looks like she could be a threat. Also, when it comes to the team championship, Campos Racing are now no longer the clear leaders, as the teams were pretty mixed across the grid. And I hope that F1 Academy lean more into the team's championship because I think that one might be a little harder to predict compared to the drivers' championship.